Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today on our channel Bridge to Islam, we have Brother Abdulwasie, who recently took a course with the Al-Maghrib Institute, and we're inshallah going to share some knowledge that we learned, and something that inshallah you can gain from it as well. So without any delay, I welcome Brother Abdulwasie to this channel.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله جزاك الله خير زياد. Once again, my name is Abdulwasie Abdul-Aziz, and we're here to discuss some of the things that we learned from the course, The Deception of Shaytan. The course basically, as I mentioned, is called The Deception of Shaytan. We learned about what are some ways that some of the tricks that Shaytan tried to attack us as human beings. As we know, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, the Shaytan is an enemy for us human beings. So the whole point of this course is to educate us and to tell us what are some of the tricks and deception that Shaytan uses to attack us and how we can protect ourselves.
So Abdulwasie, you mentioned the study of Shaytan, which is kind of like the deception that Shaytan lays on us, and the role that Shaytan plays in his psychology and stuff like that, which is really the core of this course, and how we can protect ourselves. But who is Shaytan? I mean, how does he impact our lives? Where does he come from?
So basically what the Sheikh mentioned regarding the origin of Shaytan is that he is a being that was created from fire. As we know, as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from the clay, and likewise the angels, they were created from fire. But at the same time, we have another creation they call the jinn, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created from the fire. So basically, the way the Sheikh mentioned was that Shaytan was a being that used to be quite righteous actually. He used to be among the righteous of Allah's creation, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated his status, and he kept him among the angels. He used to sit with the angels and etc. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one day he created Adam, and when Iblis, this righteous person at that time, when he saw this new creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, and Allah Azza wa Jal commanded the angels and everyone to make sajda, to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. And then this is the point where Shaytan, out of arrogance, he refused to prostrate to Allah to Adam alayhi salam. And then from there on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him to leave paradise and to leave the area that he was in. And from there on, he took an oath that he's going to destroy this Adam and his generation to come. That's what we find from then until the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him respite until the day of judgment, so that he could live long and be a test for us human beings. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's basically how Shaykh.
But with Shaytan, for example, I mean, where did his arrogance come from? I mean, if you were, for example, living in a very high class kingdom or someone, I mean, it takes a lot for someone to leave that place based on just making one sajda. I mean, do you think if he made that one sajda, or why didn't he make that one prostration to Adam when he was commanded?
Well, basically, the thing that the Sheikh mentioned in the class is that Shaytan, although he was really righteous, he felt that he was better than even the angels himself. He thought that there was no one who could be higher than him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him by having this new creation of Adam. He sort of felt that how dare does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do that to me after being so righteous and doing all this? How does Allah put someone else higher than me? And so from there on, the Sheikh mentioned actually the first sin that was committed was hasad. And hasad is basically wanting something for yourself and wishing the other person doesn't have it.
So is that like jealousy?
Well, jealousy is one thing if jealousy is not maintained. Jealousy, we would say, is much smaller than arrogance. Okay. If jealousy is not really maintained, it could lead to arrogance. And arrogance is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, is that if somebody has as small as a mustard seed of arrogance, he wouldn't be able to enter paradise. Yeah. So arrogance is a huge thing, and it came from obviously Shaytan. He felt so high, and he felt higher than the angels as a result of his worship, and then unfortunately that was the reason for his dismay and his.
So with Iblis, I mean, is there only one Shaytan, just Iblis, or is there other does he have little minions or little Shaytans that come out, or how is he going to ruin all of us if he's just one?
Well, the Shaytan is not by himself. Obviously, he has a progeny, and because he's from the jinn, the Shaykh, the other thing he mentioned was that there are from among the jinn, there are righteous group of jinn who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise, just as human beings, we have the believers and the non-believers. We also have the jinns who believed in Allah, and the jinns who didn't believe in Allah. So the jinns who didn't believe in Allah would fall under the army of Shaytan and some of the things. So this is the whole army of Shaytan. And one of the things that the Sheikh mentioned was and how Shaytan, he would regularly meet with his, his army, right?
Yeah.
So it has the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that the Shaytan places his throne on top of the sea, and on a regular basis he would meet, his army. He would ask them, "What did you do? What did you do?" So this group of armies, they would come one by one. They would say that, I did such and such thing, and the Shaytan would say, "Okay, that's not much of a big deal." This other person would come, "I did such and such," and the Shaytan would say, "That's not a big deal." And then someone else would come from the behind. He would say that I was able to cause a separation between husband and wife. And subhanAllah, and the Shaytan would call him and he said, "Yeah, you are there. You did something great.
Yeah.
You did something great." And subhanAllah, to reflect from this, and why does Shaytan target the family, is because, as the Shaykh mentioned, if we have, just to give us an example, if we have a family that is husband and wife that are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find that from them they're going to have righteous children. And if you have a neighborhood, there's a lot of families who are obedient to Allah. You have a community, that's worshipping Allah. If you have a lot of communities, you have an entire city. If you have a lot of city, you have a whole country could be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why the Shaytan targets the family. Likewise, the other thing that also the Shaykh mentions, that the reason Shaytan wants the family is because when the husband and wife are separated, a lot of people are affected. The child is affected, families are affected, and this could lead to other problems.
Exactly. It's because goal, you can commit major sins and other sins like that, but when these little shaitans come and they tell them, Shaitan's not pleased with any of those sins unless somebody, one shayateen stays with that family and with that couple and causes dispute and causes separation from them. But Abdulwasie, are there other things that the Shaitan does, other ways that Shaitan attacks, or what should we learn? If there are ways that Shaitan attacks, something that we can implement, something we can watch out for, that if we sense Shaitan coming, we can avoid perhaps. How does he attack? What are his ways of attacking?
One thing we should always keep in mind is that who Shaitan is. For you and I, we have things to we're human beings. Aside from worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we go to school, we have families. Some of us university students, some of us are married, some of us are doing this, some of us are doing that. But Shaitan's main goal from the time he refused to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam until the day of judgment, his only job is to destroy the human being. His only job is to make us astray and make us go away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's one thing that we should always keep in mind. And the Shaykh basically gave us 7 goals that the Shaitan has, that is trying to take us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from these 7 goals, his first one is to make us to commit shirk, to cause us to disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Shaitan can achieve this goal, he has basically succeeded. He's basically has, if he can get someone to commit shirk, he can basically get to relax because he's succeeded in his goal. And that's the first one. The second thing is that to make someone commit actions of bid'ah, actions of innovation, things that basically bid'ah, as the Shaykh mentioned, is any action of worship that the Prophet ﷺ could have done, and there was an opportunity for him to do, but he didn't do it. So once again, bid'ah is an act of worship that the Prophet ﷺ could have done, or he could have had the opportunity to do, but he didn't do. And the reason this is important and comes second is because if somebody engages in bid'ah, he could think that he's doing something right, but if he's doing that act of worship which wasn't taught by Allah and His Messenger, he's doing something that's quite deadly and quite dangerous. And that's something that Shaitan really understands, and that's something that he tries the son of Adam to do. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, if you can't get the person to commit shirk, if you can't get the person to engage in bid'ah, then he's going to push someone to commit major sins. So this is setting trap for a person to drink alcohol, to commit zina, or to disrespect their parents and things like that. So this is the third thing that Shaitan would try to do if the previous 2 would fail. And if that fails, if the third thing fails, then he'll go on to the fourth thing, and try to make someone engage in minor sins, small sins that you might not think is a big deal, but as we know, as small things are gathered, eventually it becomes a lot. Right? So if we have a lot of small sins that we don't really see as a big deal, eventually they accumulate, and then they will go up, and they will increase and perhaps even become major sins. And the fifth thing, so if the Shaitan can get us to commit the previous 4 that I mentioned, the fifth thing that he's going to get us to do is to make someone waste his or her time on permissible things, things that are not really forbidden in Islam but are permissible, but there are other things that one could be doing that could get someone closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Shaitan would make you engage a lot of your time in things that are permissible. For example, if somebody is engaged a lot on Facebook, or on playing video games. These things are not necessarily forbidden, but if we engage, Shaitan wants us to engage a lot of times in these because he knows that there are other beneficial things that the person could be doing. So this is the fifth thing. And the sixth thing that he would do, if you would make a person choose the lesser of two good deeds. So if you're about to do two good deeds, if there's opportunity for you to engage in two good deeds, he will make you or whisper to you to do the lesser of the two, because he failed in the previous five. So the sixth point he will make you do, he will whisper to you. He can't really make us do anything. He just suggestions. He will whisper to us to do the lesser of the two good deeds. And if all of this fails, basically just all he will be from there on. So alhamdulillah, if someone is at this stage where the Shaitan wasn't able to get him at all those stages, this is a sign that the person, alhamdulillah, is on a good step. And the final point, the Shaitan will basically try anything after that, because he can't really get at you. So we just send attacks after attacks or whispers upon to try to make you to perhaps follow your desires or try to do something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be extremely upset at if we did. So that's basically the 7 things that Shaitan tries to get the son of Adam to engage in.
So these are, I guess, 7 things that we should watch out for, 7 things that we should, instead of, again, you said there are even things that Shaitan would make you do in a way, even though they're permissible, but just to spend time in that so that he can avoid, worship of Allah or something else like that, which would be more beneficial for us. So he wants, and all of these 7 things, these are attacks that he wants us to not gain benefit from, so not gain reward from. These are all things that he wants us to do so that we end up being in the same position that he will be after the day of judgment. But Abdulwasie, you kind of mentioned all these things, but has Allah given us some sort of protection, some sort of way that we can avoid these things, or some sort of way that we can protect ourselves from Shaitan when he does try to attack us?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, alhamdulillah, Allah gave us a solution to all of our problems in this religion of Islam. And this particular topic with regards to Shaitan, one of the best way to protect ourselves is getting close to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always making sure that we read the Quran on a regular basis, making sure that we try our best to implement Quran to the best of our ability within our homes, within our surroundings, environment, to the best of our ability, always reading the Quran, whether it's before we go to bed or early morning after Fajr Salah, whatever it is throughout the day. Alhamdulillah, there's a lot of apps these days that has the Quran in them, so you can download the Quran in your apps, you can recite the Quran on a regular basis. So the one who's the closer one is to the Quran, the further Shaitan would be, the Shaitan would be from this person. So that's the first thing we can. The other thing is that to always engage in adhkar, always remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a regular basis. We have as from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have the morning adhkars and the evening adhkars that are mentioned, and the Sheikh said that majority of these du'as that can be found in the book Hisnul Muslim, a small book, or we can also download in the smartphones. It's called Hisnul Muslim, the fortification of the Muslim. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is to always make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the Shaitan. Of course, Shaitan can't get to us if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't allow it. So always understanding that whatever harm comes to us is only by the permission of Allah, and whatever protection we have is only also by the permission of Allah. So always making sure that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us, protect our families, and our fellow brothers and sisters as well. So this is basically 3 things that we could, if we hold firm to, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be able to be protected from the deception of Shaitan.
So yeah, just to protect ourselves from the deception, again, make sure we're close with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of our Quran, our Salah, and so on and so forth. Our remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's so many other ways that we can, and as long as we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on our side, Shaitan is far away from us, right? And there's companions and stuff that we can share stories of, maybe on another video, but there are stories where the Shaitan himself was scared of these companions because of how close, the companion or the Sahaba was to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I mean, there are ways that we can better ourselves, inshallah, and hopefully this video was one of those ways you can gain lessons from, learn from, inshallah, and implement in our lives, which is really important to attack, counter-attack Shaitan and defend ourselves and defend our iman and our faith and be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you have anything else to say, Abdulwasie? Maybe one last point you want them to know. This is you.
Yeah, so basically, last thing I'd like to share, inshallah ta'ala, with all of us is to, a lot of times when we come across a situation, we don't really know what to do. The best thing is to always try to seek guidance from the people, to seek guidance and counseling from people of knowledge. Alhamdulillah, we have shuyukh in our city, we have so many avenues, so many channels that we can get help. Somebody feeling depressed, somebody going through challenges in their lives, always try to seek help. Don't try to hold that to yourself, try to hide it within yourself. Try to seek help and try to speak to someone who will be able to help you, inshallah ta'ala. So we don't want Shaitan to push you to a corner for you to feel that start to giving up, giving hope, whatever difficulty you might be going through. So try to speak to someone, whether it's a counselor, whether it's an imam at the masjid, the local musalla, whatever it is. Try to seek help, so that way Shaitan has no access to you whatsoever. Allahu ta'ala. Jazakallah khair for your time.
Jazakallah khair again and again. If we make any mistakes, do forgive us, inshallah. Inshallah, see you at the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.